So this discussion will be the topic or the lesson 3 of the unit 2 topic, which is all about sun as the main source of energy. Now we humans depend all of our activities or all of our energy from the food that we eat. And this food that we eat, or these herbivores, or these carbohydrates, or proteins, foods that we eat, also depend their energy from the sun, or also gets their energy from the sun. So, as for the objectives of this lesson, at the end of this discussion, the students are expected to, first one, describe the sun as the major source of energy. Second one, define what the Earth's energy budget is. And the third one, identify the factors affecting Earth's energy budget. Alright. So, in dealing with the topics or the topic which talks about which talks mainly about the sun, we're gonna first consider the concepts of albedo. So according to albedo, all objects can either absorb or reflect light. This is a property known as albedo. It has a value that ranges from 0 to 1. Now, the albedo concept explains why wearing a black clothing adds heat to your body than when you are wearing a light colored clothing on a hot sunny day. So, di ba mabantayan nato na once gani na magsuot tag dark na mga clothes, especially if init kaayo, di ba makafeel tang uneasy po ta or uncomfortable ta because ang temperature po nga atong ma-feel sa atong lawas is grabe jud po kainit. Now compared if mag white t-shirt lang ka or if mag light colored shirt lang ka, then murag okay pa siya, murag mas comfortable ka, tapos dili kay ka na murag panington, especially pag cotton pa jud ang iyang cotton type siya t-shirt. And that is where albedo can be seen. So, black surfaces glass have low albedo since it absorbs more sunlight and its associated heat than the light-colored surfaces. So, mao ni siya mag-explain nga nung usually ang mga darker colors mo-absorb na siya og kanang heat gikan sa sun compared sa mga light colored nga i-reflect lang niya ang light, so therefore dili kayo siya init or dili kayo init ang imuhang ma-feel. So a high albedo or the materials that have high albedo means that it can reflect light more than a material with low albedo. So therefore, ang gina-focus ni albedo are those objects that can reflect light, that can absorb or reflect light. So ang high albedo daw, or yung mga materials or yung mga objects na merong high, matataas yung albedo nila, they usually reflect all the lights. And this explains why the white t-shirt, why white paint, or ang pintura ng mga light colored, they usually reflect light. So that means wala kayo'y init na maadto sa room or sa imong balay, especially pag light colored lang ang imong gigamit sa pagpintura sa imong balay, sa imong sabi that shirt nga imong gisuot. If light colored lang, so dili kayo ma-absorb or dili kayo ma-absorb sa color ang kainit nga gikan sa adlaw, instead ma-reflect niya. Bali mabalik lang niya ang kainit or bounce back lang ba. So yung ang pasabot. So materials with high albedo have the capacity to reflect all the light, compared with materials who have low albedo, just like this asphalt or yung mga dark colored objects, dark colored t-shirts. So kusog yun na siya class ma-absorb og kainit. Manang ang magsuot og kanang black shirt or yung mga dark color shirt, dali ra jud na sila panington kay maka-feel man na sila kainit, dili man good i-reflect sa black nga color ang light. Instead, iyang i-absorb. So therefore, ma-accumulate na sa imong lawas. Or if sa balay, ang gigamit na nga color is darker color, then ang kainit sa adlaw, ma-accumulate na siya dito sa balay. Manang uban kay igangan sa ilang balay, ingana. Okay, so albedo class can be measured on a scale of 0 to 1. So the values closer to 0, this one, means that a material absorbs all the light. So gina-absorb daw niya ang light nga gikan sa adlaw. While the value of 1 means that materials reflect all the light. So gi-reflect niya balik, gi-bounce back lang, gibalik niya, gihatag niya balik ang kainit or ang light rays nga gikan sa adlaw. Okay. The sun is the Earth's main source of energy and powers many of the processes in the planet. Yes, this is very true, class. That is why sun is very important, not only among humans, but also to all living things that exist on Earth. Because aside from that main source, or aside from that, this energy that the sun provides to all of us, the sun also keeps our planet in place because of the gravitational force that he exerts, or that this object exerts towards other planets. So mao nang ang ubang planets nag-remain lang jud gihapon sa ilang orbit because of the massive gravitational force nga gi-exert ni sun to keep all the planets in order, or to keep the planets remain on their own orbit, and their own axis. So importante jud kayo, class, ang atong adlaw. Plants are dependent on the sun for photosynthesis. Now, as we all know, photosynthesis is the process wherein plants converts or uses light to convert carbon dioxide and water from the soil into glucose, or into carbohydrates. And when plants participates in photosynthesis, this eventually release oxygen to the atmosphere, which serves as a byproduct. So kini sa sun, class, or kining ang atong adlaw, class, ginatabangan niya si plants na magmanufacture o kaugalingon na pagkaon by providing light rays. Kasi nga, the plants cannot make its own food. So therefore, plants need to make or need to have that energy to stay alive. So with the use of the rays or light rays coming from the sun, the plants are able to convert those carbon dioxide that we have in the atmosphere and the water from the soil into fruits of the the fruits of the mango, fruits of the apple, fruits of the grapes, or like we have sweet potatoes. So, importante jud kayo ang ato ang adlaw because it does not only help humans to perform our activities but also helps plants to create their own food, which also serves as our main source of food. Our plant or the plants there serves as our provider of food, especially yung mga animals din na kumakain ng mga halamang damo or ng mga vegetables, just like the cows, the carabaos, or the what we called as the herbivores. Since we humans are classified as omnivores, so we eat both meat and vegetables. And so this herbivores also that we eat cannot also survive without the support coming from the plants because their main source of energy also comes from these plants. So solar energy is renewable. When we say renewable, dili siya ma-perish or dili siya mawala or ma-renew lang gyapon siya class. Kay examples of non-renewable energy man kay yung mga gasoline or yung mga petroleum gas, coal. So that means it takes time for this type of energy to be generated again, while solar energy is just very accessible. So renewable lang siya class. Anytime na agyapon siya or as long as naay or as long as mo power up lang gyapon ang atong adlaw or mo give lang gyapon siya og kanang kahayag sa tuwa og kanang iyang light rays. So makaingon jud tang ang solar energy is renewable. Wala siya or kanang sitaw kanang dili gud siya diha-diha dayon mawala. So as long as the sun shines, solar energy is available for everyone to utilize. This is advantageous since the sun is environmentally friendly source of energy. That is why many of the countries now who aims to harness the renewable energy coming from the sun, because aside from its availability, the solar energy also class is or provides a good source for electricity or for any other kanang type of energy nga gamit jud kayo sa mankind. Now let's go over with the Earth's energy budget. So when we talk about budget, so nani siya involve or nag-involve ni siya certain percentages nga allotted lang jud diri, allotted for spending, allotted for buying what you need, for what your wants are. Simple na siya class sa atong Earth. Dapat kabalo po ng atong Earth mo budget sa solar energy. Earth's energy budget is the balance of energy absorbed and energy reflected. 30% of the energy from the sun is reflected and scattered by clouds, atmosphere, Earth's light-colored surfaces. So that means class, ang kanang light rays nga gikan sa atong sun, do gi-absorb na ni Earth kay since maka-feel man jud ta nga grabe ang kainit karon or grabe ang temperature karon, it does not mean nga kana siya nga type of heat or type of light rays nga gihatag ni sun, continuous na siyang i-absorb sa Earth. Instead, ang Earth mo i-reflect back po na sa Earth para ma-maintain ang equilibrium sa tuang kanang atmosphere o sa tuang temperature. Kaya di naman pwede nga absorb lang ng absorb si Earth kasi kung sa may mahitabo na to, grabing kainit ang ato ang ma-feel. So, the Earth needs to reflect back the sun rays through the clouds, through atmosphere, and through light-colored surfaces. So let us go over with the factors affecting Earth's energy budget. So there are certain factors that affect Earth's energy budget, such as the amount of light-colored surfaces, the amount of radiation received, the Earth's actual tilt, and the presence of greenhouse gases. Now, as what I have said in the albedo concept, materials with darker color, they tend to absorb light. Now, that is why it is emphasized in this generation that we have to use light-colored surfaces, especially kung magbuhat og building, kung magbuhat og balay, in-emphasize yun na klase na dapat light-colored lang. Para ang light rays or ang sunlight nga gikan sa atong adlaw i-reflect back lang sa atong surface. Kaya kung dark-colored na siya, i-absorb man dyan na niyang kainit. So that means mas mo grabe ang kainit nga ma-feel nato. Now, the amount of radiation received. So this radiation can be in the form of UVB or the UVA radiation. So, the UV radiation coming from the sun is actually not good for our body. That is why it is emphasized to wear those kanang sunscreen para ang radiation nga gina-emit sa atong adlaw dili siya ma-absorb sa atong skin, which can potentially cause skin cancer. So at some point, the amount of radiation nga na-receive sa ato ang planet Earth usually varies depending on the direction. Kung tuol ba siya kayo sa adlaw or kung layo ba siya. Now, the second one is the Earth's axial tilt. So this one pertains to tilting of the Earth's on its rotation. So it explains nga nung most equatorial countries or yung mga country nga itong makita on the equator or on the tropical above or below equator, these countries usually have kanang hot summer days, tapos maulan or grabe dyan nga kainit there, tapos they are rich in kanang mga green vegetation compared with those countries nga kanang nagka-experience og kanang 3 months nga walay adlaw, tapos 3 months nga puro lang na ay adlaw, tapos kanang walay dili gud siya walay sunset kun nga mahitabo. So bali ilang gabi nagapoy adlaw. So naay countries nga na class. I guess it's in Norway or Greenland, I'm not really sure. Basta naay countries nga nakakita jud kog documentary nga kuan jud sila all throughout 3 months kay kanang ay adlaw, tapos all throughout 3 months pod kay walay adlaw. So imagine, because the Earth is not perfectly or wala jud siya ingon nga kanang sa tawag anang perfectly naka stand still sa iyang rotation. So mura medyo tagilid ni sa Earth. So kung bali ang shape man gud niya ni Earth is oblate spheroid, dili siya perfect circle. So that means murag na ay part ni nga kan murag bugatan siguro sa Earth nga mo siya nagtakilid jud kani. Tapos so didto sa nga nga position mo na ay tilting nga nahitabo kay dili balance ang surface niya sa South Pole and North pole. And it affects the Earth's energy budget. Kay it would be unfair for a certain country to be exposed good for a very long period of time sa sunlight, tapos ang ubang countries kay wala na expose og ingana nga amount of sunlight. So mo nang sa Earth maglisod siya og budget sa maglisod og budget sa energy coming from the sun. Now, kisamutan pa jud aning presence of greenhouse gases. Now, greenhouse gases class does not only pertains to the carbon dioxide that human usually release, especially during exhaling or during breathing out. These greenhouse gases also may include yung mga methane gas, nitrous oxide, yung ozone, yung water vapor, or any other gases nga makatrap siya og heat. So, these gases or these greenhouse gases, they trap the solar energy which should have been reflected back to space. Kaya dapat i-reflect mo gusto siya back sa space kaya para ang temperature ni Earth ma-maintain jud niya. Now, the increase of greenhouse gases would mean that more energy is trapped. So that means if there is a large amount of carbon dioxide or methane or any greenhouse gases in our atmosphere, that means more energy coming from the sun are trapped. So dili siya ma-reflect back. Thus, it will result into heating of the earth, which is what we call as the greenhouse effect. So, mo na siyang reason class. Nga nung dili desirable nga daghang greenhouse gases sa ato ang atmosphere. Okay. Let us take a look in this figure. So, this is how greenhouse effect happened. So, greenhouse effect is one of the factors that affects Earth's energy budget. So, di ba, supposedly, ang mahitabo ang grid kay when the sun rays reaches, or when the sun's energy reaches the Earth, 30% should be reflected back. Tapos, ang iba ato na mga percentage, or the other 70%, it is being used by the plants, by the humans, or by the solar energy, or the solar power plants nga naata. Tapos, because of the greenhouse gases, those percentage nga supposedly reflect back sa atong Earth or sa atong planet, wala na siya na-apply. And that's because greenhouse gases trap this solar energy. So, the first one, absorb radiation. So, Earth's absorb radiation from the sun. Number two, which is the reflected radiation. Greenhouse gases absorb some outgoing radiation. So sa Earth daw, gi-absorb niya ang radiation or ang energy coming from the sun, tapos yung iba gi-reflect back niya sa atmosphere or sa space, sa outer space. Kay dili man pwede nga itanan puro ra siya absorb kay mag-unsa na lang ang mga living things sa Earth. Dili pod makaya sa atong lawas ang grabe nga kainit. Now, because of these greenhouse gases, the energy that should have been reflected back to the outer space are being trapped on the Earth's atmosphere. So, na-trap na noon ang solar energy diri sa atong Earth's atmosphere because of the presence of the greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases emit absorbed radiation, and this emission warms Earth and its atmosphere. So, mura gutag ka ng baligi buot ta ani niya baligi contain ta ni greenhouse gases, which leads to an increased temperature on the Earth's atmosphere, which basically affects our life as living things. Okay, so let's go to the key points of this topic. So albedo is the ability of a material to reflect light. That is why albedo, or materials or object with high albedo, they usually have light colors, or they are lighter in color, and they have this one or naaslay one nga measurement sa albedo nga ano bang tawag doon? Basta katong gigamit nila nga measurement, 1 dapat or 1 or naas sa number 1 na belong ang mga light materials or materials with light surfaces. Second key points, Earth's energy budget ensures that the absorbed solar radiation is balanced to the radiated ones. So, Earth also class maintains its own equilibrium. It aims to reflect back the solar energy it gets from the sun, or yung 30% gina-reflect back niya sa outer space, because dili pwede nga i-contain tanan sa Earth ang kainit, because it would also harm the other living things and other essential elements for the perpetuation of life. And the third key point is the factors that affect Earth's energy budget are the amount of light-colored surfaces, amount of radiation received, Earth's actual tilt, and the presence of greenhouse gases. Okay, so this would end our discussion for lesson 3. Now we still need to complete the last